Hello, this is Tony Millward and welcome to another edition of the RockFace podcast. This week I was lucky enough to talk to one of my all-time music heroes, vocalist Mike Starrs. In 1976, Mike featured as lead vocalist on Colosseum II's now classic first album, Strange New Flesh, and then went on to sing with German rock band Lucifers Friend. Since then, he's been involved in numerous musical projects and continues to be actively singing, songwriting and collaborating to this day. If you want to find out why he left Colosseum II, what he gave Rick Wakeman on his wedding night, how he upset David Lee Roth, and why he turned down the chance to join rock band Rainbow, keep on listening as I talk to Mike Starrs on the RockFace podcast. Mike, I really appreciate you coming on today. It's fantastic to talk to you.
Okay.
First question is, Mike Starrs, is that your real name or is it a stage name?
Oh, it's my real name. That's 100% Mike Starrs.
Wow.
That's me.
That is great. I mean, that's a very fortunate name to be born with, considering your career, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I've got 4 brothers and 2 sisters as well. And they've all got Starrs as a surname as well. They were all called Starrs.
Did anyone else pursue a music career? Or
no, my brother, I'm the baby of the family, so you can imagine what the rest of the family looks like if I'm the baby. But my older brother, Don, he was into skiffle music, right. And he turned me on to music when I was like, I used to go next door and do my impersonation of Al Jolson. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
Al Jolson, you remember him?
Mammy and all that, yeah.
That's it, Mammy, that's what he's singing.
Fantastic. So you were born in a mining village?
Lochgelly, it's called Lochgelly.
Yeah. Was anybody in your family in the mines industry?
Yeah, my father, my brothers, they were all in the pits. I wasn't allowed to go down the mine. I was the baby of the family, so my mother said, "No way is Michael going down the pit," and I was not allowed to go down the mine. So you escaped. So I ended up being a butcher, an apprentice butcher.
How long did that last?
That lasted until I was about 18, 19. So I did about 3 or 4 years as a butcher, an apprentice butcher, I should say. And then it was then I went and I worked in it was a factory, but it was we used to weld bits onto wagons. It was a wagon repair shop for the trains, and they used to bring coal in and what have you. And that's what I did that for about a year, 2 years, and then I went to London, which you'll know that you'll come to that in a minute. Yeah, I will.
Yes. So before you went to London, you played in a few bands in Scotland.
Yes, I did. Yes, I was playing in the Veltones.
Yeah,
and Gales Blue. That was another band I played in.
Okay, and were they just sort of cover band, show band sort of thing?
Yeah, we did all cover sessions. Yeah, that's correct. And
you also played with Frankie Miller?
Yes, Frankie Miller. Well, we supported Frankie Miller when he was in the Stoics, Stoics, the Stoics.
Okay.
And he was a great singer. Well, Frankie Miller is a great singer anyway, or he was a great singer.
He was, yeah. And Alex Harvey, did you come across him?
Alex Harvey, yes. Yeah, we supported Alex Harvey in Denison Pally.
Right.
It was one of them big revolving stages, the ones that turn around. Uh-huh. We were the support band as well. So it was Alex Harvey and Maggie Bell. She was the singer. She was in Stone the Crows. She was in a band called Stone the Crows.
Oh, Maggie Bell. Oh, okay. So Alex Harvey, he was a bit of a character, wasn't he?
When we used to support him, he was the Scotland's answer to Tommy Steele. if you can remember Tommy Steele, yeah.
Yes.
And Alex was. He used to come in with a tuxedo and everything, and it was an Alex Harvey big band, and that was Alex. And we used to go to after the gig. We always on a Saturday night we'd go to the Picasso Club. It was like a cafe thing, and all the bands used to meet there,
right,
in this club. And there was another band called Jacob's Ladder, I think they're called, and they had a singer called Clusy, Clewsy. Clusy, his name was, and he was a real great showman. He was, he used to come on and dance around and what have you. But he was fantastic. I think he went to live in America. And then there was Nazareth, of course. Nazareth.
Oh, brilliant!
Remember them?
Yeah.
Well, he come from Dunfermline. I lived in Lochgelly, which was in between Dunfermline and Kirkcaldy.
Yeah.
Can you understand my accent?
I can, yeah. So that's where you cut your teeth in the music business. So if we move on to the late 1960s, you decided to move to London.
That's right, yes, to make my fame and fortune.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I've done okay. I've done pretty well for myself.
Well, you've had a good taste of fame and hopefully a taste of fortune as well.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Which is good. So you played in a band called Spinning Wheel. Rick Wakeman.
That's right, yeah, Rick Wakeman. There was Barry D'Souza. He was the drummer, Barry.
Yeah.
Great drummer. He used to play in the Pickwick Club in London with the Peddlers, I think. Was it the Peddlers? Before your time as well, I suppose. But Barry D'Souza, his name was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, he passed away about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah. And of course, there's Rick Wakeman. There was Peter Sills. Myself, I was on vocals. And who else? There was a bass player. Well, the bass player was, he went to a band called Pickety Witch.
So how did you get on with Rick Wakeman?
Rick was a fantastic guy. He was a really funny guy. Very, very funny. And he was, I went to his wedding, Rick, his first wedding, yeah.
Right.
To a girl called, I think her name was Rosina, or Rosemary, or something. Rosie, I think her name was.
Yeah, he's had quite a few weddings from what
Yeah, he has, yes. Yeah. And I can always remember, I bought him a packet of 3 for his wedding. And he said, I wish I'd used them. I hope this. Oh, all right. You can edit this out if you want. And I met Rick again 3 or 4 years ago. He was in Boston. I live in Boston in Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
And Rick was in Boston doing a TV documentary regarding his time. He used to play at the Gliderdome, which is a major venue. Everybody's played in the Gliderdome, and he played there with Yes, I believe. And he was doing this. It was like a documentary.
Yeah.
I'm walking through town and I see Rick and I say, Mr. Wakeman? Yes. And then he started to go on. I said, hold on a minute. I said, do you remember a band called Spinning Wheel? And he turned around and he says, yes. I said, well, Mike Stars. Mike! And then we're cuddling. I give him a cuddle in there. And then about 2 or 3 hours later, why was your husband cuddling Rick Wakeman in town? Like, you know. And of course, my wife explained that I used to work with Rick many years ago. Brilliant. And that was the last time I saw Rick. Rick also, when he was working with me, or when we were working together in Spinning Wheel, he went to, I think he joined the Straubs.
Oh yeah,
Straubs.
Yeah.
He went with them to, I think it was Amsterdam, something like that, to do a few gigs, and we had 2 weeks holiday a year. And Rick went in the 2 weeks. He went to Amsterdam with the Straubs. Then shortly after that, he came back to where we were working in Chadwell Heath, which is the Greyhound. And he said that he had been offered a job with another band called Yes.
Yes.
And I said, well, I suppose you've got to take it, Rick, haven't you? And well, the rest is history, isn't it?
Well, that's right, yeah, because he played on Hunky Dory, didn't he, David Bowie?
Yes, he did that as well, yeah.
And David Bowie offered him a job.
Uh-huh.
And then he got this like a permanent band job, and then he got the job with Yes. So he decided to take that.
Yeah.
So you were playing in pubs around London, Spinning Wheel, etc. And you got a recording contract with Tony Atkins.
Tony Atkins. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, from Marquee Productions. You released an album called Electric Garden.
Mm-hmm. That's correct, yes.
I've got a track list, but I couldn't actually track down the album to listen to it.
Uh-huh.
So,
well, I've got a copy someplace. It could be anywhere. It wasn't a bad album. We did, I think, we had a single called Love Song.
I know.
The words I have to say. Yeah. And that was the first single that was my first single ever, I suppose.
And that was written by Leslie Duncan, wasn't it?
That's right, yes, yeah. Leslie Duncan. And then
Elton John as well, a duet version.
That's right, yeah. And well, obviously it wasn't a hit for me anyway, but there's a lot of people like it, and a lot of people did like it.
I like it, and it's done a re-recording on your recent album.
That's right. Yeah, we've done a rehash of it. Yeah,
which is great, and we'll talk about that a bit later. So I'd like to move on now to John Heisman had a band called Colosseum.
That's right, yeah.
Which disbanded for one reason or another. And then he formed Tempest. I think
that's right.
Slade, Tony Reeves, Chris Farlow. And then he went on to form Colosseum II.
Yeah.
Which was a rockier version of Colosseum. So tell me, how did you get involved with Colosseum II?
Well, I just finished the album at the Marquee Studios, right?
Yeah.
I literally just finished the album. And there was a guy called Jazz Summers who was a very famous manager. He managed Wham, and he wanted to manage me, right? And I'll go a little bit before then. What happened was that Barbara Thompson, who is John Heisman's wife, Barbara, she was in the Marquee studio doing some sax playing or some overdubs for something, I don't know. And somebody had mentioned to her that, oh, we've got a good singer here, the guy called Mike Starr. And she said, oh, that's funny because my husband's looking for a singer. And he said, well, you want to listen to this guy. So John and Gary came to a pub, or the pub I was working in, and then they offered me the gig, and that was it.
Wow.
Really, obviously, most of the stuff had been written prior to my incurrence in the band. Mm-hmm. Most of the stuff had been written with John and Gary. So I have been asked before if I had any input regarding the writing, but I didn't have anything. I didn't have any input at all.
No. So did you have sort of license to adapt the lyrics a bit? Did you?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. Obviously, I was allowed to do my thing, and it came across.
Yeah, they're quite complex, aren't they? They're quite complex songs.
Yeah. There's I think when Winds is it? Is that the first one?
Last track.
Winds, yeah. And that's I was counting. It's more counting than singing. It was a 6/4, then a 4/4, then a 6/8, and then.
That's right. It's fantastic. Yeah, my three favourite songs on the album are "Down to You," the Joni Mitchell song, with a great instrumental section
in the middle. Yeah,
a lot of guitar by Gary Moore.
Yeah,
and fantastic vocal performance, I've got to say.
Thank you.
On second thoughts, second from last.
That's right. Yeah.
Which segues into Winds with a fantastic drum solo by John Heisman.
John. Yeah, and unfortunately, John's no longer with us either. I mean, he's passed away, and Gary, they're all in the big band upstairs.
I mean, such a talented band.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that album is as close to perfection as you can get. Because,
well, thank you.
Well, you've got top musicians.
Yeah,
the music is fantastic. I mean, I can't really fault it. I mean, it's just so good. And I heard an extended version this morning. I was listening to it on Prime, and it came up with you singing Castles with Gary Moore, which ended up on the War Dance album.
Yeah. Well, I just started rehearsing with the guys, and I was asked to leave the band, myself and Neil Murray.
Yes.
I was asked to leave the band because what I was told was that the manager of Braun's, which was Lillian Braun, Lillian, I think her name, and Jerry Braun, she didn't like my stage persona. She said, "Oh, he's like an Italian gigolo coming on there." I wish I was an Italian gigolo. And that was Lillian Braun's. And then they said, or they said to John Heisman, either he goes, I'm the bass player, and Neil's a great bass player as well, Neil Murray.
Yes.
Fantastic bass player.
Yeah.
Or we cancel the contract. And unfortunately, I was asked to leave, and so was Neil asked to leave.
Oh my God.
That's exactly what happened. She just didn't like how I was.
It was all down to her decision.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That is such a shame because, a second would have been fantastic.
Yeah, and Castles, I could remember doing Castles, and it's a great song as well. Siren Song, that was another one. I think that would have been on the second album, Siren Song. But yeah.
Yeah, because they released an extended version of Strange New Flesh with some extra tracks on it, and I think that's where that one came from.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. First time I'd heard you singing that particular song, Castles.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was great. That's the bit
that goes. I nearly made it that time. I nearly got away. That's a nice melody there.
I'm very familiar with the Gary Moore version because I've got the vinyl.
Right.
But it was a nice surprise to hear you singing it, with Gary Moore doing a bit of backing vocals as well.
That's right. Yeah.
So, do you remember much about the the actual recording of the album? I mean, were you there while it was being performed, or did you turn up to add your vocal track?
Well, basically, I really just turned up, and but it was done. A lot of it was done pretty much live, really.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking 1970, 76, 78, something. I don't know what year it was, but it's a long time ago. And in those days, there wasn't so much like overdubbing and what have you as there are now, or as there is now. Gary used to come and he used to when I was living in Romford then.
Okay.
Collier Road Lane, I should say. And Gary used to come. He'd live with me. He'd be living with me, and we'd sit down and we'd go through the chords, and he would then arrange the stuff and do it how I like to do it, really.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he was a brilliant guitarist, wasn't he?
He certainly was. Well, I wasn't aware of. I wasn't really aware of the superstar status that John Heisman had and Gary Moore at that time.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, oh yeah, there's this guitar player called Gary Moore, and the guy I was working with, he said, Gary Moore, he's great. Sorry, he's great. And I goes, I says, well, I don't know if he's great or not, but he was. He certainly was great. Yeah,
they were all great.
Yeah.
You toured the album, didn't you?
We did a lot of work. We did a lot of touring, and we did a lot of touring. Holland, Germany, Helsinki. We ended up in Helsinki, which is Finland, I think.
Right.
Yeah, we toured all over. And I was away a long time. And then it was. Then we came back, and then what's her name? Lillian Bronze came to see us. I think it was in Paris, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Paris. She came to see us, and she just said, "I don't like the antics of your singer." It was. It was what it was.
Anyway, it was fantastic while it lasted.
Yeah.
So, what did you go on to do after you'd left Colosseum?
After that, I went to Germany. I joined actually John Lawton, who is a singer. You know John Lawton?
With the Lucifers.
He was yeah. Then I took over from John. John went to Uriah Heep, which was funny enough on the same label as Colosseum.
Right.
Which was and Uriah Heep were with Bronze, and I went. I did 2 albums with Lucifers Friend. 2 albums. We did Good Time Warrior and Sneak Me In, I think.
Yes, both good albums.
Yeah, a little bit different from their previous incarnation. You know, with John. I mean, they were more heavy, if you like.
Yeah, you got stuff like Mind Exploding, which was like a sort of heavy prog rock sort of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mind Exploding.
So was that anything to do with your input, the more commercial approach, or was it the band's decision?
It was probably my input more than anybody's, because I'd done all the progressive rock stuff and that, and I just wanted it a bit easier. And I thought, on the first album, I wrote all the texts. I wrote all the lyrics on the Good Time Warrior one.
Right.
On the second one, I think we had Adrian. Asked who he came in. Adrian. On keyboards. I mean, he's like my brother now. I mean, he was a great keyboard player, and he played guitar as well.
Right.
And then we went on. I'm jumping ahead of myself now.
It's all right.
We went on to form a band called Tone Band after.
Tone Band, yeah.
Remember them?
Yes, and didn't Adrian eventually join the second
Colosseum?
After Colosseum II, when they being just Colosseum again.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so after Lucifer's Friend, you were touring Germany quite extensively. And when you left them, John Lawson came back. So did you decide to stay in Germany, or did you come back to the UK?
I never really allocated to Germany permanently. I kind of commuted. So I was coming home, and then I'd be going out there, coming home, going out, coming home, going out.
Yeah, right.
So I never really lived in Germany for more than 2 months, maybe.
Oh, okay. Because there was quite a scene, wasn't there, in Germany? They loved that sort of English / American style rock. That's
right. Yeah. Well, there was a band called Lake.
Yeah.
Who were on the run, and I joined them for a wee while as well. I did 1 album with them, but with Lucifers Friend, we were supporting everybody. We supported Manfred Mann's Earth Band.
Right.
We supported Scorpions, Van Halen.
Wow.
And
been an experience.
It certainly was. Van Halen was, the guys were great, but David Lee Roth, he was an asshole. He really was. Yeah. No, he came into our dressing room. He says, we were prior to us going on, we were maybe half an hour before we went on stage, right? And this was at the Rainbow, I think. Or no, it was at the Montfort Halls. It was in this country. We're in this country.
Right.
And there's a knock on the door, and David Lee Roth comes in with his minder, his bodyguard, this lump. And he looks at me and says, you don't go jumping off any stage now, he says, because I'm the one who does the jumping. I said, oh, God, I can't jump half as high as you. I said, David, I can't jump half. He says, anyway, all right, you don't do any jumping, nothing at all. And then he went out with his bodyguard. And then, so we went on stage, and his bodyguard is right at the front of the stage looking at me. So I did my first jump right at the beginning. Oh, he was a nasty piece of work, really.
Oh, that's such a shame to hear that. But
yeah, well, I mean, he comes over is quite a nice guy. He used to smoke. I mean, okay, we all used to smoke a wee bit, but he'd be in our dressing room looking for some dope, like, you know, some green.
Well, as if he couldn't afford his own.
I know, yeah. I know, but that was. I know you can edit what you don't want to keep here, but that was Mr. Lee Roth. But Eddie came backstage, and then he said to me, Mike, he said, I have to apologise for David. He says he's only jealous because he can't sing as good as you.
Well, yeah, good point.
And yeah. And I said, well, whatever. I said, it was not necessary. He didn't need to come in and say anything to me like that. I mean, that's how it was. Anyway.
It seems like your stage persona is always getting you into trouble.
It does, yes. It's what it is, isn't it?
Do you do a lot of writing still?
Yes, I've actually. I'm working with a guy just now called Ray Finnick. Now, Ray Finnick, have you heard of Ray? Ray lives in Spalding, just down the road here.
Right.
And he's worked with the Spencer Davis Group. He's worked with the Ian Gillan Band. He did the band in he did something in Tokyo, the Tokyo tapes or something like that. Yeah. And Ray he's worked with everybody. Eddie Hardin. I don't know who you know and who you don't know, but anyway, I mean, Ray Ray used to come into Chadwell Heath when I worked there. Yeah. And he had more hair than Jimi Hendrix. You know, Jimmy, he had like this curly mop of hair. Now he ain't got hair on his head now.
Really? Yeah.
It happens to the best of us.
It does. I know the feeling. Yeah. So tell me a bit more about Tone Band.
We had a top 20 hit. Yeah, it was called Germany Calling. Yeah. I'd always call Adrian. I'd call him from here, and I say, "It's Germany Calling." Blah, blah. And then I'm thinking, Germany Calling. And then, of course, father-in-law here, he lived with us, and he was in the war. And he says, "Yeah, this is Germany Calling," and it was Lord Ho-Ho. That's who brought this up. Da 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 da. It was Germany Calling. Da da da. All over the world. Da 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 da. So we just did this, and it became a hit in Germany, of course.
Wow!
It was a hit.
And that was an album title as well, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, Germany Calling. Yeah.
Yeah. Along with Tokyo Twist. Tokyo
Twist. We did that. That was the second album, but once again, we didn't have any. It's no long-term success. It was just like it was just like one-off. It was a one-off hit.
Right. Okay. So then there was Duesenberg. I think that was your first encounter with Richard Rosbach.
That's right, Duesenberg. Yeah. I was working with the Tone Band, and then Mickey Stickdorn is the drummer. Mickey, great drummer, by the way. And he called and he said, "Mike, I'm working with this band called Duesenberg. We'd like you to sing." And I said, "Okay, let's see what we're doing." So I went and we did. I did an album with them, but it was not released. It never came out. Oh. I don't know why, but there's a couple of great songs in it. We did something called Baltimore, which is a song by Randy Newman. We did this song, Baltimore.
You did something with Michael Shambos as well.
Michael Shambos? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we did. I did about 3 or 4 tracks. It was, what was it called, man?
Here Comes the Night.
Here Comes the Night. Oh, yeah. That's
the version that would spring to mind for most people.
Yeah, Here Comes the Night. And I also did a great song called The Unknown Soldier.
Unknown.
Yes, listen to that one.
Yeah. Did you do that with somebody called Chris Evans?
Oh, that was right. Chris Evans. I was with Chris Evans. Sorry. Yeah. I thought it was Michael Shambles, but that was with Chris Evans. Yeah.
There's a sing on YouTube.
No, it's embarrassing, isn't it? Well, my wife says, turn that off.
Interesting choreography.
Oh, it was, yeah.
And
it was
sort of clinging
it was
on her arm, like she's just about to drag you off somewhere.
I know, yeah. Well, maybe she was, with a bit of luck. Those were the days.
Those were the days, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, as you mentioned previously, there was a band called Lake, which I think was headed by Alex Conti.
That's right, yeah.
And you released an album with them called The Blast of Silence.
That's right, yeah.
Which, again, I couldn't find anywhere to listen to. Right, if I can just talk about Crossover, which is another project you got involved in. Is that right, still ongoing?
Yep, that's ongoing. That's with Paul Gaskin, who was in a band called Gaskin, New Wave of British Heavy Metal. I don't know if you know them or not, or if you heard them. He did 2 or 3 albums, I think, with Gaskin. Edge of the World or End of the World or something like that.
Yeah.
So I've actually just almost finished an album with Gaskin.
Have you?
It's called Crossover.
Is that due to be released?
That will be released pretty soon. Yeah, I'm not even sure what we're going to call it yet, but it's more like a bluesy type of album.
Oh, right.
Although we're doing quite a few up tempo things as well. It's a bit more rocky.
You obviously still have a love for music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Well, that's the only thing I can do, isn't it? No, I've the guy from Lucifer's Friend, Peter Hessline, right?
Yeah.
Peter Hessline, he contacted me about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Right.
And he said that because John Lawton was back in the band and John has passed away, right? John Lawton died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know John Lawton was dead?
No, I didn't. No, when did he die?
3-4 months ago.
Oh,
not long ago.
I didn't know that.
No, well, there you are. And Dieter Horns, he also passed away. Dieter got COVID, but I think he had underlying health issues as well.
Right.
But so Peter then decided. Peter Hessline's son, Simon Hessline, he works in New York. He's a big disco producer in New York, right?
Yeah.
Simon Hessline. And Peter has just done a trilogy of albums, and they're all called Night Drive. Night Drive 1, Night Drive 2, Night Drive 3.
Okay.
And they're all instrumentals. No, only instrumentals on them.
Yeah. Peter
asked me, he said, he's doing one more album, then he's calling it a halt because he's got arthritis in his hands. And I said, that doesn't matter, Peter. You got to get another guitar player if you wanted somebody that does fast runs and that.
Yeah.
And it was, Peter said to me that he wants one vocal on the last album that he's doing. And he's asked me to do it. So I've said, okay, I will do it. So we did that. I did that with Ray Finnick. This is a world exclusive for you.
Fantastic, yeah.
And I did this with Ray Finnick, and it's called Chapters of My Life. That's Chapters of My Life. Yeah. And he said he wanted it similar to My Way, or and now the end is near, but we've So we wrote the words for this, and I recorded that last week.
That is fantastic.
It's full.
Can't wait to hear it.
I haven't heard it either, because we did it here, and then it's been sent to, the vocal has been sent to New York, and one Peter, and it's only my bare vocals. It's naked as sin, and army towel, and it was. So we'll see what happens there.
So what are you going to be released under?
It's called Night Drive, and that's Peter Hessline. But he said, Peter just said to me, he says, I'd like to feature my name on it as well, but I don't know if he'll do that or not.
That is great.
Because I said, I'm not sure, Peter. He says, no. He also said that if the record company, which I think is it Cherry Red Records? I think Cherry Red.
I think. Well, yeah.
I think they deal mainly with older artists and artists that have come and gone, if you like.
Yeah. experienced musicians.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. And but I'll get when I get a copy of it, you will get a copy as well.
Fantastic. Oh, that would be great. Yeah. So let's move on now to 2018 when you released an album with Richard Rossbach.
Yeah.
Called Partners in Crime. Was that going to be the name of the group?
That was called. Yeah, we were going to be called Partners in Crime, but I think there's maybe 20 or 30 bands called Partners in Crime. Okay. So then we eventually changed it to Rossbach and Stars. I think
it's got some great songs on it.
Yeah, it has.
Your reworking of Love Song,
right? Yeah. Mama Told Me Not to Come. Is that on it? Mama Told Me Not to Come.
Yeah, that is a great. That's a great cover version of that. Yeah, really good. I love that one.
And then there is another one written by Terry Britton. That's the guy's name, Terry Britton.
Right.
Is that see what you've done, girl? See what you've done.
What you've done. Yes, yeah. And I saw you doing a live performance of that in it looked like a club or a pub in Germany.
All right, yeah, and it's a hole, yeah,
which is where Richard lives, is it not?
That's right, yeah, it's a hole, yeah. I could remember. I have some friends that obviously I've got lots of friends, but this one he plays drums, and he said, "Where are you?" I says, "Next week we're doing this gig, and it's a hole." And he goes, I've done a few of them myself. It's a hole.
Oh, yes.
He thought I said, it's a hole. And it's a hole. I said, it's a hole. He said, I thought you said it's a hole.
I'm sure it's a lovely place.
It is a lovely place. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And how often do you go there? Do you go there when you want to record with Richard? Or
no, the last he came here. We did the Rossbach and Stars, Retouching Cohen. We did this here, mixed at the old bakery, Sipsy. So we did this one here.
All right.
And normally Richard, he's got a fantastic studio in It's a Hole.
Yeah.
And when I go there, I normally stay with Richard, and then we'll just record all day, and then just see what comes. But I'm still very active in the music business. I really am.
Sounds like you're living the dream.
Yeah. Well, I keep trying.
Yeah.
And
when you do your stuff with Richard, is it just that? Well, I mean, I know you get backing vocalists in, female singers, but the rest of the music, is that just the two of you, or do you get session musicians in as well?
Sometimes we get session musicians, but mostly it's Richard. He plays everything.
Wow, multi-talented.
Yeah.
He certainly is. I mean, it's such a good production, really polished sound.
Yeah, I think that the Retouching Cohen one, I love it.
I love it,
and it's easy. It's easy to sing as well. This stuff. I mean, I'm not stretching at all.
Well, I did. I listened to that one first, and I thought,
okay,
I like this. And then I listened to the other one, Partners in Crime.
Yeah. And
I thought I like this one better.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's more your sort of natural singing style.
Right. Yeah.
When I went back to the Retouching Cohen one, I thought, actually, this one's growing on me. And the more I listened to it, the more I liked it.
Yeah. I've Ray Finnick, the guy that I'm working with, also is a great guitar player. He loves it. We do slow. I'm slowing down the tune. And we do Suzanne takes you down to a place near the river.
Yep.
You hear the boats go by, and I do that with Ray Finnick and his band. I love the way you adapted your vocal style to sort of suit the Leonard Cohen. Track,
yeah. And it's especially First We Take Manhattan.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah.
It's dramatic. It's a dramatic song. I mean, I don't like making comparisons, but it brought a bit to mind Jim Morrison and a bit of Billy Idol as well.
Okay.
That's meant as a compliment.
All right, that's fine. I'm not going to,
Yeah, great. And then when you go to 1,000 Kisses Deep,
I like that one.
You sort of go back to you're sort of back in your own style, sort of thing. The sort of Mike Starr's style.
Yeah, 1,000 Kisses.
Yeah. Then you've got Slow. I noticed you included that on both albums.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we recorded that before it was. I thought, why don't we do a whole album of Leonard Cohen stuff then? But we recorded Slow and Tarot Song. It's a country version on this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more like but on the original one that we did, I do it as per Mr. Cohen. It's just keyboards and myself.
That's right. Yeah. So is that what gave you the idea to do a whole album?
Yeah. Well, Rickard's partner, Suzanne, that's her name, by the way, Suzanne, and she's a big fan of Leonard Cohen. And I said, Leonard, I can't hear anybody sounding like Leonard, or would want to even sound like Leonard Cohen. He can't sing. And she said, oh, but it's only women that like him. It's mainly women that likes Leonard Cohen.
His voice just got deeper and deeper.
And deeper, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
As he got older, didn't it?
Yeah.
Although it
must have been all them cigarettes he smoked.
Yeah, it was almost like sub-bass towards the end.
Yeah. But it's how it was, wasn't it?
It still had a certain appeal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love your interpretation of his songs. They are a bit more upbeat than the original.
That's I told you, don't go cut your wrists yet.
That's right, yeah. So that's a good thing.
But I'd like to thank you very much for your kind words. For your kind words. Yeah.
I love both the albums, and I wasn't aware of them until you mentioned them, and I got straight onto Spotify, and I've been listening to them in the car pretty much.
There you go.
So you seem to have a bit of an affinity with Germany. How often do you go over there?
It's now, since COVID hit, I haven't been back for it's about 3 years, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
Rickard came here. He came here just before the last shutdown, and he drove here, and that's when we did this. So what year was this? 2021.
Yeah, Retouching Cohen. Yeah.
So that was virtually the last time I saw Richard, and I mean, we're like brothers, really, Richard and myself.
Yeah, well, you work very well together. That's for sure.
That's
for sure. Yeah. So, do you have a studio set up at home at all?
No. He come over here with his little laptop and keyboards, and then we just did it. I did all the vocals here. Yeah.
Amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. It's such a good sound as well. Do you play any other instruments apart from your? I
play a little bit of harmonica, a little bit,
right,
and I play a little bit of guitar.
Right, okay.
3 chords, 3 chords. But that's all you need, isn't it?
When you're doing your songwriting, do you have a specific method? Do you have a certain approach to songwriting? Normally,
Rickard, when I'm writing songs, it's nine times out of 10 it's with Richard, right?
Right.
And he'll come up with a melody line on that, or he'll come up with some chords, and then I'll just adapt. I'll do a melody line or whatever.
Yeah.
And I write the words. But with the thing from Peter Hessline, he sent me this demo tape through, and it was this trumpet.
It wasn't James Last, was it?
Oh no! But he worked with James Last for a while. Yeah. Looking
back, would you have done anything differently?
Yes, I would have joined Rainbow. Yeah. Well, I was offered the gig. I just finished doing Good Time Warriors with, and I came back from Germany.
Yeah.
We recorded that. We recorded that in Holland, I think. Hilversum. I think. Hilversum, yeah. That was at the Jan Ackerman's. Yeah, it was in his studios. We did that, right. And I just came back home, and I'd been to the pictures with my wife. We came home, and there was a phone call from it was the manager of Rainbow, just saying, "Can you come to?" They were recording in Paris, and it was when they did "Since You've Been Gone."
Yes, yeah.
And I Want to Love You All Night Long. Those were the 2 hits. I think Graham Bonnet did the gig. Graham Bonnet got the gig.
Yeah.
I didn't go because I spoke to Don Airy. Don Airy was in the band at the time.
Yes.
And I worked with Don in Colosseum. Mm-hmm. And he said, Mike, he says, if you want to come, the gig's yours. He says, but Richie's a very, very hard guy to work with. Richie, blah. And I goes, okay. I says, anyway, I've just finished this album and it's crazy. I'm quite a loyal person, really. I says, and it don't make sense for me to leave in the middle of, or just when we finish recording it and joining another band. I said, no. So that was, but my wife said I should do it. Karen, she said, oh, you've got to take that. And I said, nah, I don't want to do it. So that was, that's probably my biggest regret.
That would have been so good. Because there were quite a few singers over.
Yeah. James Dio, Ronnie Dio.
Ronnie James Dio, yeah. I
forgot about that. Yeah, I actually auditioned for, it was Black Sabbath, right after Ronnie James Dio left. I did 2 songs with them down in London, but I didn't get that gig for whatever reason. I've lived a great life. I've had a great life, and it's the only one thing I would have changed would have been that. If I could look back and do that now, I would have joined Rainbow. So,
what are your plans for the rest of the year? I mean, you mentioned you've done a bit of recording.
Yeah. Well, I've got to do a little bit more of the vocals on one song, Crossover.
Right.
I don't want a crossover. I'll do a little bit of vocals on that. Then we'll try and get some gigs, I think.
Yeah.
With the Ray Finnick show, I'm doing the Blackfriars here in town. That's on the 25th of next month.
Right.
The 26th, we're doing Secret Garden. That's down in West Beach. And basically just trying to get some more gigs. It's been pretty hard recently for bands and for musicians.
I know. Yeah.
It's not been the most lucrative time for anybody, really.
No, it has been difficult. It has been very difficult. Yeah, but hopefully things are picking up anyway.
Yeah, well, it looks that way. Yeah,
Mike, I can't thank you enough for coming on. So thank you so much.
It's been lovely talking to you.
It's been fantastic. I never believed when I was 18. I never thought I'd be sitting here chatting to the singer on that amazing album. It's a privilege. It really has.
All right, then I'm happy. I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for me, because that's a very, very nice compliment you've paid me.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. An absolute privilege. So, Mike Stars, thank you very much indeed.
Well, I'd like to thank you as well, Tony, for being such a wonderful host and for interviewing me so eloquently. So thank you very much, and I wish all your listeners a happy, prosperous New Year.
Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem.
Well, it was a real privilege and a pleasure to talk to Mike. He's such a genuine, down-to-earth and unassuming guy. And I highly recommend that you check out his latest albums, Partners in Crime and Retouching Cohen. Well worth a listen. I also recommend that you listen to his Colosseum II recording of Strange New Flesh and check out some of the links I've put in the notes to his performances that are on YouTube. Well, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this week's edition, and please check back again soon. Thanks for listening.